All right, this is Roger Roots and Sid Daoud. We are at the National Libertarian Convention in New Orleans, 2018. It is, Monday, July 2nd? And we're here just to update you guys on a few things. Sid is running for...
I'm running for House District 8 in Kalispell.
And I'm running for Montana Clerk of the State Supreme Court as Libertarian candidate. I also wanted to just update people about a couple court cases I've been working on. Number one, we've been working with FIJA, the Fully Informed Jury Association, to file a petition for certiorari to the U.S. Supreme Court in the Noah Kleinman case. That's the case of the medical marijuana grower in California, currently in federal prison, doing 17 years in federal prison. The jury instruction at his trial in the federal court in California was given a horrible jury instruction, among many other bad instructions. The judge instructed the jury, quote, "You cannot substitute your sense of justice, whatever that means, for your duty to follow the law. Whether you agree with it or not, it is not your determination whether a law is just or whether a law is unjust. That cannot be your task. There is no such thing as valid jury nullification." That's what the judge told the jury in that trial. "You would violate your oath and the law if you willfully brought in a verdict contrary to the law given to you in this case." Now, I worked with FIJA in the Ninth Circuit. We filed an amicus brief, a friend of the court brief, amicus curiae brief. We argued that is an unconstitutional jury instruction, and the Ninth Circuit panel actually agreed with us, and they struck out the last two sentences. But they held it was harmless error, and they upheld his conviction. So poor Mr. Noah Kleinman is still in federal prison, even though the Ninth Circuit agreed with FIJA that the jury was improperly instructed. Anyway, he has exhausted all of his appeals and his petition for rehearing, and now FIJA is supporting his petition for certiorari to the U.S. Supreme Court. My brother Alex Roots in Bozeman, Montana, an attorney there, filed the brief for FIJA. I worked on the research and the writing of the drafting of the brief for FIJA, and we are supporting his petition. Hopefully the Supreme Court will hear his case. I'm also working a little bit on the Joe Robertson case on the side for two organizations, the Coalition of Western Property Owners, also known as COWPO, and the Constitution Society, both of which are supporting. I wrote up a brief in the Ninth Circuit to support Joe Robertson's appeal on the question of the waters of the United States. What is meant by the phrase in the Clean Water Act called the waters of the United States. Basically, there's a federal law that criminalizes polluting the waters of the United States. Joe Robertson, of course, is a Montana landowner. All he did is dig a couple little pits, little ponds on his own land, which is adjacent to public land there, north of Butte, between Butte and Helena, Montana. And he was prosecuted and actually put in prison for polluting the waters of the United States, for putting dirt, literally for piling dirt on the digging dirt out, which ran off in this spring snow runoff. And the government actually claimed that he was polluting the waters of the United States. The closest stream is miles away. Anyway, this can get a little bit complicated, but essentially Joe's attorney argued that the federal courts had no jurisdiction over the question because the definition of waters of the United States was defined by, now we're getting really in the weeds here, but there was a U.S. Supreme Court decision a couple of years ago called, starts with an R, but in any case it was a 4-1-4 split, where the winning plurality written by Justice Scalia basically said that waters of the United States means what it says: ponds, streams, rivers that are navigable. And so if that was the rule, then Joe Robertson could never have been convicted of that. However, you could call them they would probably call themselves the liberals on the Supreme Court. The 4-1-4 split, the losing for plurality, said no, waters of the United States can mean any stream or mud puddle that has a nexus at all with navigable riverways. Anyways, it's a little bit of a legal argument. Coalition of Western Property Owners and the Constitution Society is supporting Joe's appeal and his petition for rehearing in the U.S. Ninth Circuit. So those are just a few cases I'm working on myself, and Sid's also working on a lot of things on the side.
Yeah, I just want to tell you, if you live in Montana, vote Roger Roots for the Clerk of Supreme Courts. And if you're in the Kalispell area, vote for me, Sid Daoud, House District 8.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.